Hello and welcome to another edition of the Brooklyn Baby Podcast with me, your host, Charlene Sabb. Well, happy Friday, everyone. We made it through another week. How's everyone doing? Hopefully, everyone's having a great day. I know here in Raleigh, North Carolina, it is hot as you know what, but I'm enjoying the AC at the house. I'm enjoying not only AC but ceiling fans to also make sure that this queen does not melt because as we know brown sugar melts in the heat and we're not trying to melt. We're not trying to be sticky or stinky. No ma'am, because after I do this recording I'm probably gonna run some errands, go out of my uh, air conditioned sports car into the store, which is air conditioned, go back into my air conditioned sports car and back into my air conditioned home. That's how I do for when it's hot. Anyway, so this episode is something that is near and dear to my heart. It is titled Middle Age Dating. And who knows best as a woman who's middle aged and dating? Yes, yes, yes. Something near and dear to my heart, also as a person who has written a dating self help book for women and for men as well. Go grab your copies. Let me plug myself. If he doesn't come a calling practical tips for dating, you can get it on Amazon. Yes. Uh, as well as a SAB publishing website. Anyway, so this is really to it go to anyone, but especially anyone my age. I'm gonna be 55 next month. Um, Trying to look my best. Hey, they say black don't crack, right? And to those of my sisters who are beige, they say the beige don't age. Okay. Mm. But there's a whole skin regimen plus DNA, genes, genetics. Great genes on both sides of my family. Really against aging rapidly and expeditiously. So I'm grateful to that. But you also got to take care of yourself. Should I drink the way I do at times? No. But you gotta hydrate and moisturize and drink so much. I drink so much water, probably like a half a gallon of water a day, and I try to exercise as much as possible. Now I'm a curvy woman, but I do get my exercise in, walking, jogging, going to the gym. So, anywho, and don't forget your skin serums and moisturizers too. Anywho, yeah, so dating middle age. What do I want to say to my people? Men, women, young, old, but especially the people in my age bracket demographic. You would hope that at our seasoned age, you would have some knowledge, some wisdom, some decorum, or as my son and his good friend Michelle say, he got to saying for Michelle, have some business about yourself. You would hope. But I'm here to tell you, as someone who, you know, has been dating and chose not once but twice not to get married by choice because those two people did not, after being with them for a while, did not meet my criteria. See, a lot of people think because you're single, oh, you're an old maid, and no, you don't even know people's story. I'm the woman who gave back the ring one time. I'm another person who had another person after that who wanted to get married and said no because, like the first person and the second person, they didn't have this stuff in order for what I need for myself. And I've told you before, I had a great example of what real love looks like from my own parents. Why am I going to deviate from that? I'm not saying that their stuff was perfect. I'm not saying that they didn't have problems, but it wasn't messy. It was true love. My dad was a good provider to my mom. And even though he is a widower, he's been a great provider to me and my sister, and when my son was younger. And, he's a great provider. So, not saying I need a man's money because I make my own, but and he treated us with respect, and he's noble, still is. So why would I go for someone who doesn't even meet the mark? Why would I go for someone who's disrespectful, who's a cheater, who does not treat uh, his kids or me like a queen with the basics? Why would I do that? So I'm here to tell you, marriage is not everything. Most of the people I know who are married, my age bracket, older and younger, they've either gone through a divorce, separation, traumatic issues going on within their marriage. And I'm like, I could do without that. I could definitely do without that. Life is hard enough on its own. Why do I gotta add to it by bringing someone into my life who's gonna mess up my life? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Does that make sense? I'm better off by myself. Now I do realize people sometimes get married for untoward reasons. They want to, or nefarious reasons. They want to come up. They want someone who's going to finance their lifestyle. We got opportunities and gold diggers, yes, but I'm. It's just amazing. I realize that even at my age, there are still men and women still trying to pimp out there, trying to be players and playettes. Hey, hey, don't make me knock your hustle, but don't bring that shit my way. Plain and simple. Yes, there are people still. It's hard. The older I got, maybe because I'm more aware and I try to learn from my past mistakes. Because I'm not perfect. I'm far from perfect. There's things within me right now I'm still trying to work on. But if the right person came my way, yes. I mean, I'm dating. Yes, don't get me wrong, but I'm not locked in with anything or anyone or nothing. No, let me say any man. I'm not locked in. I'm not. Um, so, but I like that. I have this saying, like I'm the CEO of all aspects of my life, dating, opportunities. Now, especially that I'm retired, anything that's displeasurable or pleasurable to me, agreeable, disagreeable, I can add it to my life or walk away from it. And that's the mindset I have. I'm in charge of my life. I'm the CEO of my life. And if you don't meet my criteria, you're fired. Bye bye. Adios. Life is hard enough, so why we have to exacerbate the hardness of life? Also, I'm a person who I'm a girl's girl. I'm not male driven. It could be because of the way I was raised. It could be something also inherent within me. There could be a lot of factors, but I feel because I'm not a male driven woman, especially at this age of my life, no man's gonna run game on me. First of all, I'm not even gonna let you into my house or into my life. If I sniff bullshit and something's not right, I'm gonna be honest. Um, yeah, I'm not gonna get too deep, but how do I say this without saying too much? And I had an encounter not too long ago, and as soon as talking to this person in the grocery store, um, mm, and I was like, it was to the point where he didn't have self esteem, and he was kind of surprised that I even gave him the time of day to even talk briefly in the grocery store. I'm meeting a lot of men in grocery stores lately. Do they make it past, you know, getting a number? Most don't. And the ones who do, the one or two that do, in one conversation, that's usually it for me. Boom. No, I don't even want your money. I don't want you to take me on a date. I don't want you to call me anymore. We ain't got ish to talk about. It is. So again, because I'm not male driven, and because I'm not driven by a man has to finance my life or I'm looking for a come up or be taken out to dinner. I could buy my own dinner. I could pay my own bills. I don't need a man to do that for me. So I think, no, I do know that alleviates and takes a lot of the bullshit that a lot of women face because they're going into relationships for the wrong reasons. Some men too. And when you go into relationships and getting to know people and date for nefarious and untoward reasons, karma is a bitch. And she's kicking ass and taking names. You never win. What did Mama Joy say? Candy Burrs' mom. You never. No, what was it? No, it was Nene Leaks. She said, "You never win when you play dirty. You don't win. You don't win. You don't win." So there's levels to it. There's levels to life. There's levels to dating. But trying to get over on people, whether it's for money, whether it's for material things, whether it's for sex, Anything that's not genuine and authentic, people never win. I'm without getting too personal with someone. I know a female like that, not in my friend circle, not anyone who is I'm close to, and I know a male like that. Both of them try to pimp the opposite sex. The male, he tries to pimp women. The woman, she tries to pimp men. And from what I last heard, my last check-in, I don't directly talk to those people anymore, but people I know or know do, they're not doing well. Shit blew up in their faces. It backfired. And they're not doing well. Their spirits are broken. Yeah. There's no, and these are middle-aged people like myself. You never win when you play dirty. Never. There's no good out of that. So I'm just going to say to my middle aged people dating, just try to be healthy, try to be happy. If you indulge a little food and drink, everything in moderation, because there have been times I probably did both. I've done both in excess, and that's not the healthy way to do. We want to take care of our bodies, get our checkups, go to the dentist, I'm a teeth person. Thanks, Dad, for giving me braces years ago, and Mama too. And it was my dad. Anyway, my parents, especially my dad, put me on to great dental care and the benefits of it. This, that, and the third. Because those of you looking to date, you want to still attract. Let's try to keep our hygiene up. I'm a person who sweats profusely, and it don't smell too cute. So I know, okay, it's hot months. Okay, take multiple showers. Great, find a good deodorant that works for your body chemistry. Good perfumes that work with your body chemistry. Especially if you're a person like me who sweats profusely, you got to know yourself and handle yourself accordingly, down to the hygiene, everything. You know, but aside from that, you have the right to be selective. And yes, there are people, even in my age, my big age, still trying to run game. Be alert, keep your head on the swivel, be smart, don't be desperate, keep options open, don't be a doormat. That's one of the chapters of my book, also. And yeah, just that simple. And please, please, people, don't put men or women ahead of your children. No, don't do that. Don't do that. I wrote about a chapter about that in my book too. How I was always against that, and there are some men who do it. Again, the same person I'm talking about, who's one of the men who trying to pimp women, he puts women ahead of his children, and his children don't fool with him anymore. So we think it's just women; it's men too, middle-aged men, grown-ass men, and women putting dating ahead of their own children. Your children will never forgive you for that. And I feel that's one of the great things of me and my son's great relationship. He's one of my closest friends because it always resonated with him that my mother never did that. He can count on one hand with some fingers left over how many men I've dated that even made it to meet him or made it to meet my parents. Very few, maybe three, that actually made it that far. Because you don't bring everyone around your family. So remember that, people dating, whether you're young or old or middle aged like me, just remember that. Also, people, be safe. I read something years ago, about 4 or 5 years ago, a lot of people who are elderly are getting HIV and STDs, and especially in these, well, period. And then also people, these elderly living in these senior apartments. There's one not far from where I live, very, you know, sedity, nicely upscale senior apartments, beautiful, beautiful apartments. But these people are getting their freak on. And, well, I'm not saying at that particular location, but I'm saying people in those kind of dwellings and just being senior and middle aged as well. And they're not having safe sex. They're not getting their bodies checked out after or even before having sex. So just because you're older don't mean that you are immune to STDs or STIs as they call it now. So just make sure you're being safe. Get your bodies checked out and get tested together with your mate. Just because you're older don't mean you're immune to getting STIs. So just be safe, you know. But at the same time, embrace the wisdom that life should have given us. Use that discernment that life should have given us, because there's nothing worse than an old fool. And there are a lot of old fools, male and female, floating out here. Don't be one. I don't have all the answers, but I'm not a fool. And there might be times you need to walk by yourself. There have been times I've chosen not to date, nothing by choice, several times in my life. Meet people, but I'm like, nah, this is not right. Nope, 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 nope. Oh, I'll take you out to eat. No, I'm good. No, thank you. Here's my number. Either don't take it, or just to be gracious, take it, but just don't call it. Fade to black. So it's okay to walk with yourself. There's some people that can't be without a man or a woman for a second. And that is going to cloud your judgment, even in middle age. There's some people who are sexually driven. They lead by their vagina or their penises, and then end up hurt because shit don't work out. You can't lead with sexuality. I'm not saying I'm perfect. Now, if you're a person who, I just want to boom, 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 I'm not going to get attached, and I'm going to try to be as safe and you do you. But if you're looking for something long term and positive and tangible, you can't, don't lead with sex. Some people lead with their bodies, and you know, I was never one of those people to lead, because I got big hips and thighs and buttocks, which I do, but I don't want to lead with that. And I had it times in my past, especially when I was younger, and even more boom, boom, boom. You know, I was considered what, jailbait, as they used to say. There was a term for girls like me who blossomed early and were very curvy as young teens with beautiful bodies, and they called people like me jailbait. And unfortunately, some women still. And I used to hate that, and I didn't like when I was younger feeling like, oh, people just whatever because I got a beautiful body, which I, especially when I was younger, but there's still people leading with that now. Men leading with their physicality, women leading with their physicality, whether it was natural or enhanced. Luckily, all mine is natural. Again, thank you, God. Thank you, mom and dad, for blessing me genetically with that. But, you get what you put out. If you're leading with the sex, leading with your hand out, people are going to treat you at the sum total of your own estimation. If you're looking for true something tangible, yes, reflect on yourself. Yes, if there are things within yourself that needs to change, pray about it, work on it. Because like I said, I'm still working on things about myself that I had a good talk with my good friend Kim. It was before we met for lunch, and then we talked more about it when we met for lunch last weekend. And she, politely, like a good girlfriend does, a good friend, she checked me about something in a certain dating scenario where I was wrong recently. And instead of getting mad at her, I took accountability. I said, you know what, Kim, you're right. You were completely right. And thank you for your advice. Be open, male and female, to owning your shit, looking within yourself. And there are some people who never will say they're sorry. Sometimes there are often times when you got to admit you're sorry. And that same male I'm telling you about, who tries to use women, his children don't fool with him, um, who, whatever, he has narcissistic traits, and he doesn't never took accountability for anything he has done wrong. And I'm 54 years old, soon to be 55. Met him, knew this person since I was 19 years old, 18 years old. And this person has these same traits, and still to this day, in middle age, still has these same traits. I can see why he and his wife got a divorce. Some people never take accountability. Some people never say, I'm sorry. And if you're dating someone at any age and they can never take accountability, never say they're sorry, that's a huge red flag. They have narcissistic tendencies. Run. People, keep your eyes and ears open. You're no one's doormat. As soon as you see red flags that are not suitable, run. And what might work for you may not work for someone else, and that's okay. But if a person does not meet your needs, and I'm not saying that we're not perfect. You're not going to get a perfect person, but you have to find a person who's right for you. And they have qualities that are not right for you, run. Or there might be cases where they're not right for you romantically, but they might make a good friend. No sex, no attachment, and maybe they need, or maybe they shouldn't be in your life at all. So you, again, CEO of your life, you determine where that person fits in. But enjoy this. I'm enjoying being free and doing what I want to do and testing the waters. I'm enjoying this phase of my life. And I'm so glad I didn't jump into marriages that would not have worked out or would have made me kill someone or try to because I'm crazy. Yeah, but that's it for now. I don't even remember what we're going to talk about next week, but I thank you all for being here with me. And thank you for tuning in to another edition of the Brooklyn Baby Podcast. Be well. Have a blessed weekend. Bye, everyone.